You will hear part of
Presentation by a history student
a presentation by a history student
about the history of coffee.
about the history of coffee.
First, you have some time to look at questions 30
First, you have some time to look at questions 31
to 40.
to 40.
Now listen carefully and,
Now listen carefully
and answer questions
and answer questions
31 to 40.
to 40.
In my presentation, I'm
In my presentation,
going to talk about coffee
I'm going to talk about coffee
and its importance both in
and its importance both in
economic and social terms.
economic and social terms.
We think it was first drunk in the
We think it was first drunk in
Arab world,
the Arab world,
but there's hardly any documentary
but there's hardly any documentary
evidence of it
evidence of it before.
before the 1500s.
The 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 1500.
Although, of course, that doesn't mean that people didn't know about it.
Although although of course that doesn't mean that people didn't know about it
Before then.
before then.
However, there is evidence that coffee was
However, there is evidence that coffee was
originally gathered from bushes
originally gathered from bushes
growing wild in Ethiopia,
growing wild in Ethiopia,
in the northeast of Africa.
in the northeast of Africa.
In the early 16th century,
In the
it was being
in the early 16th century, it was being
bought by traders,
bought by traders,
and gradually its use
and gradually its use
as a drink spread throughout
as a drink spread throughout
the Middle East.
in the Middle East.
It's also known that in 1522,
It's also known that in 1522,
in the Turkish city of Constantinople,
in the Turkish city of Constantinople,
which was the center of the
which was the center of the
Ottoman Empire,
Ottoman Empire,
the court physician approved its
the court the court physician approved its
use as a medicine.
use as a medicine.
By the mid 1500s,
By the mid 1500s,
coffee bushes were being cultivated
coffee bushes were being cultivated
in the Yemen,
in the Yemen,
and for the next 100 years,
and for the next 100 years,
this region produced most of the coffee drunk in
this region produced most of the coffee drunk in
Africa and the
Africa
Arab world.
and the Arab world.
What's particularly interesting about coffee
What's particularly interesting about coffee
is its effect on social life.
is its effect on social life.
It was rarely drunk at home, but instead,
It was rarely drunk at home, but instead,
people went to coffee coffee houses to
People went to coffee houses
drink it.
to drink it.
People, usually
These people, usually
men,
men,
meet to drink coffee and chat
would meet to drink coffee and chat
about issues of the day.
about issues of the day.
But at the time, this chance to
But at the time, this chance to
share ideas and opinions
share ideas and opinions
was seen as something that was potentially dangerous.
was seen as something that was potentially dangerous.
And in 1623,
And in 1623,
the of Constantinople
the ruler of Constantinople
demanded the destruction of
demanded the destruction of
the coffee houses in the city.
all the coffee houses in the city.
Although after his death, many
Although after his death, many
new ones opened, and
many new ones opened, and coffee
coffee consumption continued.
and coffee consumption continued.
In the 17th century,
In the 17th century,
coffee drinking spread to Europe,
coffee drinking spread to Europe,
and here too, coffee shops
and here too, coffee shops
became places where ordinary
become places where ordinary
people, nearly always men,
ordinary people, nearly always men,
could meet to exchange ideas.
could meet to exchange ideas.
Because of this, some people said that
Because of this, some people said that
these places performed a
these places perform
similar function to
a similar function
universities.
to universities.
The opportunity they provided for people to meet
The opportunity they provided for people to meet
together outside their own homes and to
together outside their own homes and
discuss the topics of the day
to discuss the topics of the day
had an enormous impact on
had an enormous impact on
life.
social life
Many social movements
and many social movements
political developments had
and political developments
their origins in coffee house
had their origins in coffee house
discussions.
discussions.
In the late 1600s,
In the late 1600s,
the Yemeni monopoly on coffee
the Yemen monopoly on
production broke down,
coffee production broke down,
and coffee production started to spread around the world,
and coffee production started to spread around the world,
helped by European colonization.
helped by European colonials, colonization. Europeans
Set up coffee plantations
set up coffee plantations
Asia
in
and the
Indonesia and the
Caribbean.
Caribbean,
Coffee in colonies
and production of coffee in the colonies
skyrocketed. Different
skyrocketed. Different
types of coffee were produced in different areas.
different types of coffee were produced in different
It's
areas,
interesting that the names given
and it's interesting that the names given
to these different types, like
to these different types like
mocha or Java
mocha or
coffee,
Java
often
coffee
taken from port. They
were often taken from the port. They were
were shipped to Europe.
shipped shipped to Europe from.
But if you look at the labor system in the
But if you look at the labor system in the
different colonies,
different colonies,
there were some significant differences.
there were some significant differences.
In Brazil and the various Caribbean
In Brazil and the various Caribbean
colonies,
colonies,
it was grown in huge plantations.
coffee was grown in huge plantations,
Workers there were almost all
and the workers there were almost all
slaves.
slaves.
But this wasn't the same in all colonies. For example, in Java,
But this wasn't the same in all colonies. For example, in Java,
which had been colonized by the Dutch,
which had been colonized by the Dutch,
the peasants grew coffee and passed
the 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 peasants grew coffee and passed
a portion of this on to
a proportion of this onto
the Dutch.
the Dutch.
It's used as a means of
So it was used as a means of
taxation.
conversion
But whatever
tax taxation. But whatever
still was used
system was used
under the
under the European powers of the 18th
18th century,
centuries,
coffee production was very close
coffee production was very closely linked
to colonization.
to colonization. Of colonization.
Coffee was grown in ever increasing quantities
Coffee was grown in ever increasing quantities
to satisfy the growing demand from Europe.
to satisfy the growing demand from Europe,
As should have done.
and it became nearly as important as sugar production,
Which was grown under very similar conditions.
which was grown under very similar conditions.
However, coffee prices were not yet low enough for people
However, coffee prices were not yet low enough for people
to drink it regularly at home.
to drink it regularly at home.
So most coffee consumption still took place
So most coffee consumptions still took place
in public coffee houses,
in public coffee houses,
and it still remained something of a luxury item.
and it still remained something of a luxury
In Britain,
luxury item.
however, a new drink
In Britain, however, a new drink
was introduced from China
was introduced from China
and started to become popular,
and started to become popular,
gradually taking over from coffee.
gradually taking over from coffee.
Although at first it was so expensive that only
Although at first it was so expensive that only
the upper classes could afford it.
the upper classes could afford it.
This was tea. And
This was tea.
200s, it was being
And by the late 1700, it was
widely drunk.
being widely drunk.
However, when the USA gained independence from Britain
However, when the USA gained independence from Britain
in 1776,
in 1776,
they identified this drink with Britain.
they identified this drink with Britain,
Coffee remained the preferred drink in the USA,
and coffee remained the preferred drink in the USA,
as it still is today.
as it still is today.
So, by the early 19th century,
So, by the early 19th century,
coffee was already being widely
coffee was already being widely
produced and consumed.
produced and consumed.
But during this century,
But during this century, production boomed,
Coffee prices started to fall.
and coffee prices started to fall.
This was partly because new
This was partly because new types
types of transportation had been
of transportation had been
developed, which were cheaper
developed,
and more efficient.
which were cheaper and more efficient.
So now, working people could afford to buy coffee.
So now working people could afford to buy coffee.
It wasn't just a drink for the middle classes.
It wasn't just a drink for the middle classes.
And this was at a time when large parts of Europe were starting
And this was at a time when large parts of Europe were starting
to work in industries.
to work in industries.
And sometimes this meant their work didn't stop when it got done.